off the cuff. Oh, I know what we can do. It's a topic I thought I had done last week on Bubba, but I lost the footage. It's like the world doesn't want Bubba to be part of the family or something. If you haven't seen my weekly update, I picked up a road bike 2 weeks ago now from work for free. It's a Univega steel frame 2001 road bike. It's got a name. It's like Montevega or something like that. I can never remember it, so I just call him Bubba. That's what I've named him. When it's done, obviously I'll reveal what the name means. I've done cable housings on it, I've done bar tape on it, but I rode it to work one day last week and broke the saddle. That day I did ride it. The saddle was already broken. I just finished it off. Snack, drink. Now I drink some water. That's not a bad idea. So, bike selection is what I want to quickly chat about, because it's actually a pretty big deal, especially if you're trying to ride daily for fitness, trying to commute to work. Bike fit is very important. Obviously, the first thing to do in this conversation is to get sized up. Go to a bike store, local bike shop, tell them you're looking for, whatever you're looking for, and we'll go through what you I think you should be looking for based on your situation. And you just tell them what you're looking for and you'd like to be sized for a bike. And you don't have to buy a bike that day. Most bike shops I've gone to, they're not going to try to pigeonhole you into buying a bike that day, especially if you're actively in the market looking for one. They're generally pretty cool about it. So most of the time, tell them, I'm just looking to get sized. I think this is what I want. I'll try a bike or two, and they'll be happy to let you try a bike. But get sized up. I got lucky. This bike was a used bike sitting on the shelf, and it just happened to be the right size for me. Or I feel like this bike's the right size for me. It's 54 centimeter, so it feels perfect. But that's number one, go get sized. Getting sized is the most important way for you to pick out the right one and not get a bike that ain't gonna fit right, which you'll never be happy on. So bike fit's number one. Number two is think about the purpose of what you plan to do with said bike. If you're going to commute to and from work every day and you have a 15-minute commute by bike, thankfully you have a lot of options, especially if it's city commuting. You can go with what they call a city cruiser or a commuter bike. Generally they have upright handlebars. You're in more of a sitting position. You have touring bikes, or not touring bikes, but hybrids, I guess is what they call them. That type of bike is also an option. So once again, upright. They kind of remind me of a mountain bike, but then the build of the bike usually doesn't have shocks. It looks kind of like a road bike on build, but it has handlebars like a mountain bike. Those are really popular. A lot of times with those, they'll have mounting points for a pannier rack, or for a back rack where you can put panniers and a lunch box if needed. I like having a back rack on most of my bikes, which is funny because my new road bike isn't getting one. And then for me, I was looking for something, so I have a bit of a longer commute, and I generally like more of the hunched over road bike position. I feel faster, and just the way the bike is built and geared to me just feels really fast. So it's my preferred style of bike. If you're older, and you have any kind of back issues and you don't want to be in that bent over position, City Cruiser is probably your way to go. No matter how far you have, you'd be surprised how much you can push and pull, even with straight handlebars. Mountain bikers do it every day. The road bike, the reason you go with a road bike is it's more aero, and I'm not a big aero person, but I understand the people that are, because it does increase your speed. Now, being aero is a good thing. So, and then after that, after you found kind of the style of bike you want to ride, then, you know, obviously you find your brand, you find your bike. Brand doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I think there are a bunch of great ones. There are some bad ones. I ride a Trek every day, so I'm kind of biased, and I've been looking at newer Trek bikes, and I like the look of them, and I think it's because of the bike I have currently. But I've also looked at, there's another brand I see on GCN all the time, and I'll look at it and I'll go, wow, that is a really nice bike. I don't think it's a Cabin Dash, but the S-Works, I like those too. There are a bunch of good brands. It's hard to pick a really bad one if you go to a reputable bike dealer. And oh, that's a good point. When you're buying your bike, you got to decide, am I going to work on it? For me, I feel pretty comfortable working on most things. There's a science to most of it. Once you figure it out, it's not too hard. So, excuse me, I work on all my stuff. If you are looking more to do your own work on your bikes, brand doesn't matter all that much. But if you are looking to have a local bike shop work on it, I'm blessed with having one that'll work on anything that isn't department store. So I could buy a new Trek offline. Well, I can't buy it offline. I have to get it through a distributor. But once I get it, they will work on it. My local bike shop will. My local bike shop can't buy it because you have to be a Trek distributor to buy them. But they will work on it once I have it. They'll even put it together for me if I so choose, which I probably wouldn't, but you know how it is. And so that's big. If you're just gonna have someone else work on it, go to your local bike shop, see what they sell, talk with them about what you want, and if they would work on it. And if they say yes, go for it. Buy whatever you want. Get it home, you get it all set up, it's rideable, you're doing well. The next thing I'd look at, let me get out of this wind. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Maybe once we get into some more tree cover. Oh. The next thing I'd look at is tires. Tires. Now, if you buy a road bike and you're riding in the city, you might want to look at some gaiters or something of that nature. Something that's going to be puncture resistant. I don't run gaiters because I haven't had any issues with these Bontrager tires, and I don't want anything wider, but it might be something worth looking at. Your tires are the one big connection between you and the ground. Having good tires is a great first step towards having a nice riding experience. On this bike, I've had really good luck with the Bontragers. I'd be willing to look at some faster tires if they exist, but Bontragers worked. Bubba will probably get a pair of like Continentals or something. for Pirellis. I think it's got a Pirelli on it now or something. It's a decent brand, but it probably came with it. If I see any dry rotting, that thing's getting yanked. All right, just about home. So, tires, yeah, that's probably the last real point I've got. Buy a bike that you will want to ride every day. Don't buy something just because. Don't buy a bike just because I told you to do it. Buy something you want to ride. Buy a bike that you're going to want to get on. You're going to want to pedal around every single day. You don't just buy something because it sounded right when I said it. Yeah, just buy a bike that you like, that's within your price range. One caveat, I guess, to that is never ever buy a bike in a cheaper category with the plan to upgrade. Don't do it, because what you'll find is you have to change more than you think. You can't just all of a sudden say I'm upgrading to this shifter set. No, you have to upgrade the whole set. You can't just upgrade one component normally. So keep that in mind. If the difference between you getting the shifters you want is $500, maybe buy a used bike for now. Either spend the money now or save it and spend it later. Don't buy a cheaper bike new that you want to try to upgrade later, because it's always going to cost more than just buying the bike with the right stuff on it. Go up a step, buy the better bike, or just buy a used bike that has a shifter set, an older shifter set that's within what you want. That's a big one. I didn't know that until recently. I didn't understand really that, oh, well, that shifter set doesn't work with that derailleur, and that derailleur doesn't work with that cog set. You know, you think they're all the same, as I always have, and they're just not. You have to buy within the same series. So, just an FYI. Yeah, don't plan to upgrade later. Buy the bike you want, or buy something used that is like the bike you want. I plan to ride this Trek for a couple years and then upgrade to a newer road Trek. But I plan to stay aluminum. But that's a topic for a different day. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what you should be looking at when you go bike shopping, when you're looking for a new or new to you bike. And we will chat very, very soon. If this video helped at all, please leave a like down below. And if you like this type of content, how about subscribe? Last time I checked, I was up to 7, which is kind of weird, because I'm like, I don't know 7 people. So I appreciate everybody. Make sure you're visible, make sure you're easy to see, and get out there and do some riding. Get out there and ride. Thank you.